My name is Jamie Bertese. I'm the COO and CCO of Totango, and I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us this morning here for our CXO Summit. We're delighted to have this opportunity to hear from leaders in our space. Today we have two great speakers planned for you and an interesting open discussion as well. So before we move on, I want to talk about just one housekeeping item, and then we'll move on. One thing is that you will have the opportunity to ask questions. You're muted now, but once we get to the Q&A component or the discussion component of the program we've got planned, you will be able to turn on your microphone and go from there. In addition, there is a chat, as you can see, that I can already see comments in the chat. So feel free to put your questions in there as well. And we have questions from our last CXO Summit that were submitted in the survey that we did after the event. So we have some of those to go through today as well too. So our last event, if you missed that one, was fabulous. Bentley and Zoom both presented, and they talked about the things that they're doing to drive precision engagement today and how they're scaling their businesses now in the COVID-19 era. So if you have not seen it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Everything Customer Success, and you can catch the recording. So let me go on and now introduce our speakers for today. Today we're going to hear from Guy Nirpaz, our CEO and founder of Totango, as well as Ilana Brown, the VP of Customer Success at SevenRooms. And both have really interesting stories to tell you today. I'm going to just go ahead and transition it to Guy.
Thank you, Jamie. Hello, everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces that joined, many customers and future customers. So thanks for joining. Thanks for taking the time to spend with us this evening, this afternoon and morning, depending on where you are in the world today. I'm not going to talk specifically about customer success, and I'm going to leave a lot of the evidence to the point I'm making to Ilana, who's going to tell us an amazing story about business transformation in time of crisis. But I believe that in the last few weeks and months, especially in the last few weeks, we all asked ourselves the question of what is our role as a business in times of these extreme conditions. Not only COVID, there's all the other political and aspects that happen in the world, as a result of that or a result of other things, and forces us to think very carefully about our place in the world as a business. And that's my topic today. So anytime, any day of the year, these questions are coming to every business leader and you all business leaders with your roles in your organizations. But now more than ever before, it forces a very, very hard prioritization or decision that we need to make. So what comes first? What should we value first? Is it our customers, and clearly as Totango that promotes customer-centered enterprise? That could be the position, or is it the value for our shareholders, or is it our employees? In a sense of, good employees create great experiences for customers, or even our communities, and as Totango being entrenched in so many communities over 3 continents, what is more important than what? Especially when we are seeing, what's going on in the world right now. And it's a very important question and very hard to answer. And some would say that it's very clear to them, and I'm not sure that there's a canonical answer. But the way I want to share with you is the way we answer this question for ourselves, and it wasn't trivial, is we were trying to look for values that would harmonize these questions. And if you want to understand this slide, is the point here is our team, supported by our families and creating value for our families, is focused on our customers and their businesses. And that's what drives success for our business. This is the method in which we found value that harmonizes these ideas. And to be more specific about this, I cannot emphasize, as a founder CEO, and I think, the last few weeks, more as a founder than a CEO, the question of what is our role as a business is very, very important to understand, because when we are all remote and our teams is remote, what is the connecting tissue that drives us all together? Because we want to accomplish something, how can we make sure that everyone is aligned towards the same a common goal in a way that respects their values, respects their beliefs, and helps them be proud to be associated with the organization that they are part of, even if it's a business organization. So now more than ever before, it's very, very important. It was important for us, Totango, to be very clear about what our mission is and what is it that we do in order to make our team proud and part of the brand Totango, to feel confident and proud of being associated with Totango. And I know that many companies have taken different positions in the past few weeks with regards to what's going on in the world. This is our point of view. So as you know, we've been very focused on promoting a customer-centered enterprise. Our message was center your company around your customers, delight your customers with journeys and experiences. And what we do from a capabilities perspective is align people, data, and operations to accomplish that. But I want to go one step deeper into it. I want to drill down a little bit further, because I think this is good in times of peace. Today it is not defined enough. So we went one level deeper, and we have made it very clear that our job is to enable any digital customer initiative for any business. Easy to do, easy to change, drives great experience for any initiative. And we also organize this around concept that goes beyond customer success. So there's the concept of the customer success initiatives and the team, but there's other initiatives that we're seeing that we are supporting and will support even further for our customers. And I think you're going to hear Ilana's story from SevenRooms as a story of a challenge and massive transformation. And we are proud to be the technology and the company that enabled some of this innovation and needs in times of crisis. So customer success is one set of customer initiatives that we proud to support our customers. Digital engagement, now more than ever before. You've heard this, for those of you who were on the previous 6.0 Summit, we've heard this very clearly from Zoom. Revenue growth, revenue protection, customer experience, applying methodologies, whether it's Farm Don't Hunt, TSIA, Cisco, winning by design, customer imperative, you name it. If you have a methodology that you build or you want to implement, we want to make it happen for you in a digital fashion. Customer marketing, referrals, reviews, and of course, customer journey optimizations across any type of customer, any type of business. And we went one level further to define that, and you will clearly see here, if you're familiar with Totango, that those concepts that you're seeing on the white here are basically names of success blocks that we have in our marketplace. But when you think about what is in store for Totango, what is it that we allow companies to do, we didn't only classify this by categories. We very much focused on the specifics of being able to have a customer initiative and roll it out and go further. And what we believe is very, very important is to enable customer innovation. If you have your own initiative, think about everything else as a starting point or a template or scaffolding that you can build on top of it, other things. So the story that we're going to hear in a minute from SevenRooms, is the reason why we felt so compelled to bring Ilana into this conversation today, is a story about a business that had challenges starting COVID-19. I'm not going to steal any thunder from Ilana. And we were very fortunate to be the technology partner that enabled SevenRooms to accomplish their business objectives. So if I summarize, what is our core driving principles? We've been talking a lot with our team to make everyone feel valued and necessary in these uncertain times, is our ability as a business to enable any business, basically all of our customers, to drive any customer initiative so they can be successful, and that drives our success. This is also inspires us and encourages us to keep on going and drive innovation and excellence in order to enable all that. So I'm really excited to hear the story from Ilana. I'm sure you're gonna love it as well.
I mentioned it earlier as well. Our YouTube channel is called Everything Customer Success, and I suggest you subscribe. You will be in the know of all things customer success, from product deep dives to customer tutorials, best practices, success stories, etc. Things like we're talking about today are once we wrap up here, will be placed up there and so forth. So it's a really great asset for you and your team. So go ahead and subscribe to that if you can. All right. So now, without further ado, let me introduce Ilana Brown. Alana is the Vice President of Customer Success from SevenRooms, and Alana is going to tell us the SevenRooms story of basically how their hospitality industry collapsed overnight due to COVID-19, the coronavirus, and how they had to leverage their tech stack and pivot to survive, and not only survive, but accelerate their business. So it's a really interesting use case and story, and we want to share that with you right now. So Alana, over to you.
Very nice to meet you all. I'm really excited to talk to you about SevenRooms and how we've been impacted by quite a few challenging times, and as you had mentioned, made some really, really quick pivots, evolved our business. And then also I'm going to talk to you about another little project that came about while I was trying to help my clients, that turned into a very fast growing nonprofit to help my industry and along with other impacted communities amongst the chaos. Before that, I'll introduce myself. I'm a New Yorker, born and raised on Long Island, and I've been living in New York City for about 12 years. I'm currently actually quarantining out west. I was just telling the Totango team a few minutes ago, I came out to Tahoe for a ski weekend about 3 months ago, just as the world was starting to collapse, and have not made it back east yet. So I'm currently residing in Sedona, Arizona in an Airbnb. But anyway, I love hospitality. It's been ingrained in my family and my blood. And I've always wanted to work in hospitality in some way or another, but really never had any interest in working in a restaurant. I love tech and people and an office environment. So working in a restaurant was never really my ideal role. And I found out about this little hospitality tech company called SevenRooms, and it kind of married all my skills and passion into a single role. And what's crazy is that in October, it will be 6 years that I'm at SevenRooms, which feels absolutely insane for any startup. I was brought on as one of the first employees. So my job was really the whole post-contract experience for a client. So everything from onboarding, customer success, as well as technical support. Okay, so what is SevenRooms? SevenRooms is a guest experience platform that enables hospitality operators to provide a personalized experience for their guests through data and technology. So we provide technology to restaurants, hotels, nightclubs, other entertainment facilities to drive guest engagement, revenue, and loyalty. So really we're providing a holistic view of the guest. So whatever their preferences are, their spending behavior, so on and so forth. And so our clients are actually able to create an incredible experience. We're also providing these venues with, their core in-service operational tools. So their seating and floor plan management. When you walk into the restaurant and you walk up to the host stand, that iPad a lot of times has the SevenRooms technology. So I know what you're probably all thinking. Holy shit, you guys must be in trouble. Why does anybody need tools to provide a wonderful guest experience if no one's coming into a restaurant? It's completely devastating. And considering these restaurants, many of the top restaurants in the world have created their entire businesses around being able to provide you with an unforgettable experience while you're sitting inside of their restaurant. They don't just know you, they greet you by your name when you walk in, and they're escorting you to a table that they've carefully assigned for you. Their server already knows that someone at the table might have a fish allergy, for example, and alerts them that, the steak special is almost sold out in case they want to jump on it. They know it's your birthday next week because maybe you were there 2 years ago to celebrate. And they throw in a chocolate cake at the end, and they know you love chocolate cake because you ordered it the last 3 times you dined there. So your experience is getting a little bit better every single time, and they know a little bit more about you, and they tune not only your experience inside the restaurant, but they know how to get you back. They know, that special champagne that you may have ordered a few months back that they're usually sold out of, but they let you know that, and they know that you're going to come back when you tell them, or when they tell you that they have the champagne in stock, for example. So they're working really, really hard for your engagement and loyalty, and they can really only be successful, one of a few ways. One of them is the server that you always get. He knows exactly who you are. He knows when your birthday is. He remembers how much you love chocolate cake. But when he calls out sick on the day that you happen to be coming in, that's a bad thing, right? Maybe the server writes everything down and he sets a reminder on his phone to email you when that champagne comes in. I've been working not only with hospitality operators, but humans for long enough to know that would be the furthest thing from reliable. And the other option is there's some sort of tool that enables you to do all this. So SevenRooms kind of recognized this issue. Most businesses have some sort of a CRM, but restaurants never really did. They can certainly jot down notes in OpenTable, but if they do that, no one really recognizes who owns the guest, but OpenTable owns that guest. So imagine if the people you did business with, like clients of yours, they use stored in Totango touch points that you added when you had interactions with them, and different data points about that person, what their email address is. Imagine if Totango owned all that data. I don't think that you guys would go for that. So SevenRooms is really that operator first and operator only technology, and it empowers the restaurant to own all of the guest data, and take action on the data and remarket to their guests, form relationships with those guests, and ultimately bring them back. And when they come back, the restaurant, of course, is making more money. So a few months ago, we started talking about how can we expand this journey beyond just in-service dining. And there's a plethora of data that sits inside all of the preferences that you guys have when you're ordering delivery. So delivery was the next big ticket for us. And that data and that ownership is even worse than OpenTable. So not only are all these third-party deliveries not sharing email addresses or phone numbers, but you have zero access to any CRM capabilities. So forget about the fight over the data ownership. You don't even have access to it. So ultimately owning and building a direct guest relationship through and through was the end goal. So mid-March, we kind of felt the world rattle, what was about to be a complete global collapse on many scales. And one of them we knew was going to drastically impact the hospitality industry. And so our leadership team got on a call and we decided we need to fast track this idea of what a delivery integration and partnership was by like 6 months. So you can imagine what unfolded in the coming days. It was complete and utter madness. We needed to move really fast on delivery as a product to be able to help restaurants generate revenue in really the only way they could given the current situation. And so direct delivery and online ordering was really the way forward. And so you've heard me say direct delivery a few times. What is direct? Like, what do I mean by direct? It's, Seamless and Grubhub and Uber Eats and, they all have their place in the market. Sure, they charge upwards of 30% per order to the restaurants at a time when restaurants are literally holding on by a thread. That's the last thing they can afford. So we had to find a way around this for the industry. So we launched this commission-free online ordering platform. And now they can generate real money and keep it, own the guest data and own the relationship to drive loyalty and integrate with the system that they already use, which is SevenRooms, to store all of their client data. And now they have it in one system. So now there's this full 360 view of a guest and how the restaurant can service them in their homes, at their restaurants, ensure a consistent experience throughout. And so, what this looked like before, this is, third party. They own everything. The restaurant has no data, no control. They're paying exorbitant fees. At the beginning, you can see that they're not owning any of their own channels. As a restaurant, you can put a delivery link up on Instagram and generate quite a bit of business from Instagram, but it's still going through Seamless. It's still going through Uber. It's going through whatever that link is. And then eventually, the person receives the order and then they want to order again a few weeks later. And guess what? The restaurant is again paying for that customer acquisition. So now when you own the guest relationship and your own channels, you can promote yourself and acquire the guest and keep the revenue. And you have all that data available to bring the guests back. Now that makes sense. And that's really how restaurants survive long-term. I mean, you guys all know too well that data is king. So we made a really quick pivot to focus on bringing this commission-free online ordering to our clients. And with that pivot, we had to reshape our business completely, especially with customer success. Everyone was in blitz mode. Sales was selling a practically free product to help save our industry, save the devastated restaurants, give them, some chance of survival through this. And CS and onboarding needed to get everyone up and running really, really quickly. And that meant every single person on CS had to mobilize around onboarding. So we built a process. We got the data in Looker, which easily enabled us to capture everything in Totango. And we built the entire onboarding process in Totango, which it was actually something that we wanted to do for a while. So when we initially launched Totango, the primary goal was having all of our CSMs living in Totango, as opposed to being somewhere between like Salesforce and Looker and Asana. And once that was complete, phase 2 was getting our onboarding process into Totango. So we were almost there around February, March for our core product. So, by the time mid-March rolls around and disaster ensues, we knew exactly how to build out the onboarding process in Totango in a way that, enables our business to move fast, also includes some automation. And the onboarding team was already being trained on how to onboard in Totango. So we were in this position like, move fast or die. We were able to move really fast. So our onboarding process and, supporting of this new online ordering tool was launched day 1 in Totango. So we pulled in all of the order, activity data from Looker. We built success plays in Totango, made sure that the team was acting really fast on any items that mattered in a moment. And we quickly were able to set up campaigns as well because, we kind of already had a lot of these ideas from when we were originally going to launch this for our core product. So we knew like the content and the tools and the cadence at which how to set these campaigns up really quickly. also, I failed to mention throughout all this, like many other businesses around the world, we also had to furlough a significant amount of staff. And since CS is one of the largest teams, I had a really big cut, and now we were working fast, working with fewer people, and we had to work much smarter. So while I'm lucky enough that I was able to bring quite a few people back over time, we still really had to rebuild this team and scale it even more than what we thought was possible. Without Totango, I literally cannot imagine the manual workload that would have been put on my team. We would not have been able to launch at the speed that we were able to, while still having any element of like proactiveness and proactive messaging to our clients, and help set them up for success. We've also been wanting to launch more of a tech touch model as well for a while. And so, figured what better opportunity than, when you furlough half of your team and you're forced to making really huge changes. So here we are now. My onboarding and CSM team is fully living in Totango. And the guys at Totango have been talking about Zoe for a while. And, it's definitely been enticing. But frankly, I wasn't really ready to introduce a whole new technology again. Actually, Guy, do you want to give like a quick line on what Zoe is in case anybody doesn't know?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Ilana. So far, very inspiring story. So I'm kind of excited. So a pause into a Zoe advertisement. So Zoe was designed to be to provide everyone in the company access to customer information. It has a different design paradigm that does not require any training. It basically allows anyone in the company that needs to know something about customers to simply go to a simple interface, whether it's Slack or other interfaces available, and ask Zoe a question and get immediate answer. With a little as just getting introduced to the concept and where to start, but from that point onward, it's pretty straightforward. And once people start using that, it catches up like fire.
Thank you. They didn't even ask me to advertise Zoe at all. I just wanted to do it. So after looking into Zoe more, I reconsidered the idea of launching it. We realized how valuable this information would be to the AEs. And frankly, we wanted their help. Like, we were just absolutely slammed. And we wanted them involved after they signed a contract. But without sharing information across the company, there was just no way we could expect them to help. And for anybody in CS, I mean, the worst and most annoying question, to me at least, is like, how's my account doing? Like, how's my account doing? I have no idea what that means. Like, does that mean you're interested in doing something about it? Do you want to help? Are you just curious? Do you want to upsell them? Do you want to call them? Like, what does that mean? So anyway, we did it and we launched Zoe. And now no one has to ask any single person on my team that dreaded question again. Now they can just ask Zoe. And so, Zoe kind of takes care of that. And I would recommend it to anyone else who also doesn't like that question. I just know that when everyone's working off the same set of facts, we can really align on decisions and action plans together. And seeing as we're all remote, it's even more challenging to stay connected and aligned. And I would finally say that, the team is working off the same set of facts. So we pivoted the business, we built a whole new process with less people, but we have a lot more information in a lot of different places. So we have emails that are going out to AEs. We have emails, of course, that are going out to our CSMs and our onboarding team. We have Slack. People can ask, like, how's this account doing? And they know exactly how much revenue they've generated from delivery, from our direct delivery or online ordering platform. They also know how much money they've saved. So a salesperson can say, like, hey, I want to do an expansion to that deal. They have multiple restaurants and I'm curious how much money they've saved. And so they just ask Zoe, and Zoe says, like, they've saved $20,000 since they launched in commission fees that they would have otherwise been paying to these third parties. So it's really been an absolute game changer. It keeps a lot of people on the same page. and, leveraging technology and different tools that we have available to us, are the only thing that have made the last few months possible. So, restaurants are still struggling. Let's be honest, there's only so much that any technology can do to, generate revenue. And they're still not even allowed to have people inside their restaurants for the most part. So restaurants are still closed across the country, and even restaurants who are starting to open, they're going to be challenged to break even, let alone turn a profit. So now I'm going to pivot a little away from SevenRooms. I'll take you back to March 15th, which was the day that New York City shut down all of the restaurants. So on that Sunday night, and thinking back, like over the last few days, things started shutting down. No one really knew what to do. And then it felt like a sudden move, but it was really after a 2-month buildup. De Blasio said no more in-service dining. And I kind of broke down. I was absolutely devastated. I feared for my job. I feared for my clients who have become friends over the last 6 years. I feared for the whole city. New York City is energy, it's restaurants, it's hospitality, it's the vibes of people out and about. And we all knew this would absolutely devastate the industry. So I was literally crying myself to sleep. And my boyfriend was like, well, what else can we do to help your clients? Like, there's gotta be another thing. And at this point, the only way to help a restaurant is to order food from them, right? Many restaurants didn't even try to stay open. So the ones that did, try to order food from them, order delivery, order direct delivery if they offer it. So anyway, we decided to send a few meals from one of my clients to one of his friends, my boyfriend's friends who was working at the ICU at New York Presbyterian. And the text messages that I got from my client just made my heart melt. Like, he was obviously grateful for the order. He was grateful to get some staff back in for the day. He was grateful for the opportunity to send, some love to the frontline workers who at that time truly had no idea what they were in for. They just knew that things were about to get really tough. So anyway, we decided to raise money, and he's like, how about we like raise enough money to feed a whole ICU? We can raise, $1,000. That's what it should cost. So we put up a GoFundMe, and in 24 hours, we ended up upping the goal, and we raised $10,000. And I was like, I think people are really engaged in this mission. Like, I think this is a thing. And through his network, we got introduced to a couple of people in San Francisco and LA who were doing something similar, just raising money and buying food from restaurants, many of which were in the hospitality industry or in the medical field. And we decided to pool all of our resources together. So like people, money, skills, network. And so we formed something much larger that could not have been done individually. And just like that, Frontline Foods was formed. The mission was pretty simple. It was like, support local restaurant communities, the people that they employ, the vendors who service them, purchase fairly priced meals to send to individuals who are putting their health and lives on the line to protect us and our loved ones. So really like generating or continuing on this flywheel effect of like, servicing the restaurants. They can buy food from their vendors. They can pay their rent. It's like a real stimulus to the restaurant economy. And our efforts were spent building a sustainable system for restaurants to stay open by paying them what they would have otherwise charged a guest. So we're keeping restaurants in our community solvent and showing frontline groups that, we're really appreciative of their efforts. So anyway, so we started a Slack channel, and someone spun up a website. Someone formed a partnership like within 3 days with World Central Kitchen to be our fiscal sponsor for 501c3. And it was just absolutely wild. The team got so big with all these people I've never met. Every week we were adding new chapters. We were raising more money, adding new volunteers. It was like lightning in a bottle. There was no stopping it. And it was created really by a bunch of startup junkies like myself, like people who value systems and tools and efficiencies and automation and process and training and data. And, you know, in a minute we had Slack and Airtable and Confluence, and we had teams like engineering and restaurant analytics and marketing and corporate sponsorships and social media and fundraising. It was just absolutely insane. And, you know, suddenly we had like 61 chapters and 800 volunteers, and we had no idea what hit us. And what's crazy is we even had to form a chapter success team to make sure everyone was following the right protocol, putting their messages in the right place, had all the right information, so that all the chapters were kind of doing all the things that we needed to in order to like have an idea of what was going on at the top, how many meals we were serving, how much money we were raising. It was just insane. So now, like, it's definitely pretty big. It's shifted quite a bit though. Doctors and nurses and frontline workers, like, you know, sure, they appreciate the food, but there are much bigger issues going on. And we began servicing other impacted communities like hospitality workers who are out of work and can hardly afford to pay for their families to eat. And more recently, we pivoted to a different set of recipients. So we have fed protesters and other groups and communities who are in support of social justice movements happening, you know, that are kind of just going on as we speak. And we focus on purchasing food now also from Black-owned restaurants. So Frontline Foods kind of became a way to consistently support the restaurant community while supporting anyone else who was fighting the good fight. And there are a lot of people in the world fighting for both our health and our justice and equality. So it's been a crazy few months, to say the least. I had the opportunity to help an industry that I care about in a lot of ways. SevenRooms was able to make a really fast pivot, probably the fastest I've ever seen in a company. And given the tools we had implemented before all this, and all the teams were able to work collaboratively to, you know, kind of fight for the industry at a time when it needs it most. And then furthermore, I was able to help a lot of dedicated, amazing people to get restaurants paid and get food over to people who need and deserve it. So I actually saw a quote I wrote down. It was, if we all did the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. So it definitely spoke to all the amazing things that have been done, not just by SevenRooms or Frontline Foods, but a lot of different businesses around the world. When you have the right people and partners and motivation to do it. You know, 3 months ago when my CEO first said we have to launch delivery, I was like, you're absolutely nuts. But we worked tirelessly and succeeded. And if my boyfriend told me 3 months ago that we would be raising $10 million to give to the restaurant community, I would have laughed, but we did it. And it's going to be a slow and painful process to build the industry back up. It's not just going to be a few months, but it'll really be a few years before it is back to whatever the new normal is. And SevenRooms and Frontline will continue to fight the good fight. And no one really knows what the new normal will be, but I'm pretty excited to be a part of helping whatever the crazy world is slowly pick back up again. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Ilana. I am so impressed with you and everything that SevenRooms has done, as well as the Frontline team. I think we have to give like a round of applause to Alana, because
thank you.